Hello, everybody. Welcome to Powerful Impact. It's me, SP, and I'm here with Nev, the man behind the blue wall.
Boom.
Powerful Impact is where we interview people who make a powerful impact on the culture and the community as a whole. Today we have Backwoods Sweetie. How are you today?
I'm well. I'm well.
Good. I kind of always start off with the same question because I think it's important to establish background, and then we can move on to the bigger and more delicious things that I want to talk about. But first, where are you from, and how does that impact you as an artist?
I'm from PG County in Hyattsville, Maryland, uh, on the East Coast. I live maybe 10, 15 minutes out from DC. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
as far as this area, it's hip hop and go go dominated. But having a father as a DJ, I was introduced to other genres as well. So, regardless of where I was living at, I think having my dad in my life,
Mm-hmm.
being my DJ, that had the biggest impact.
So your dad was a DJ. What kind of
He
DJ
still
was?
he still is a DJ.
Yeah. What kind of DJ is he?
Hip hop, but as of late, he's getting older, so he's doing a lot of weddings and parties and kind of just like around the way kind of DJing.
Oh, okay. So he's actively turntables or computers.
Exactly. Both.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of
Cool.
both.
I think it's I think that's cool. And there are people who get into this space of you have to stick with the original, but I think it's wise when you can all not only do the original style of DJing, but you incorporate the new, because just because you can do it the hard way doesn't mean you always have to do it the hard way. So, um, tell me, what made you decide to become an artist?
A rapper?
Mm-hmm.
No, because I've been writing for a long time, just writing stories and, in elementary school. Like I remember even coming out of school and, being at work, running into a teacher I had in elementary school. And they're like, well, I still had such and such that you wrote, back in kindergarten or first grade, because they just hold on to stuff like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved to write, but I started doing talent shows in middle school. So just kind of seeing that different element, kids sitting at the lunch table rapping, or just kind of after school around the way, people just hanging out, and then all of a sudden a cipher starts, something like that, and I'm kind of witnessing these things happen. I'm like, well, I write, I got some bars. So, I started doing the talent shows in middle school, and, from there it just kind of took off. I wanted to record.
Oh, that's dope. How did you get your name, and does it hold any significance?
I started off as Duchess. Then, the guys I was working with, they started calling me Dutchie. Then I took this hiatus, and now I've come back as Backwoods Sweetie. But it sounds like smoking names, and I was making a lot of smoking songs, and I am a smoker, so that's where the name comes from. But I'm also sweet, I'm reserved. I can be sweet, and I can also have that tough layer to me too, or different layers to me. So complex person.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. We are all multifaceted, and so I think it's good that your name reflects all that you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what made you kind of fall in love with hip hop?
I always give props to Tupac because that's my favorite rapper, my favorite artist, and I look past the music and loved who he was as a person and fell in love with his poetry and had all his documentaries and books and just so much, so many different things about him as an artist that I look up to, and the way he talked about women in a positive light, and sometimes, and a little misogyny, but that contradictory about him, I also appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
So he was definitely my biggest inspiration, and made me want to get into hip hop and talk my shit and say what was on my mind and on my heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was something about Tupac that um you loved him despite his flaws. It was a
Mhm.
it was because he was flawed that you connected with him on so many other levels, because we all have those different sides, and God forbid people judge us by the one side and not see the whole picture. And it was such a large picture that in what 6 years he managed to just take over, and it was a beautiful thing. And I what I really love is that his music is still taught in colleges today.
And that's the impact that I admire and what I hope to achieve. People talking about my music 10 years, 20 years from now, and making those types of classic records.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be talking about this EP for 10, 20 years from now, because it is so fire. It is so ridiculously fire. What?
Boom!
I saw somebody on the timeline talking about EPs and LPs and lengths. Do you consider Christina Shante an EP?
I actually considered it an album, but I thought you called it an EP, and I didn't want to. Um,
Anything over 30
I
minutes,
didn't
you good.
want to contradict what you thought of your art, but
No,
for me, it's
no.
an album.
I think I was referring to what I'm working on with Styles, because we're
Mhm.
doing 8 tracks, so that one's definitely gonna be an EP with some shorter we already put out the shorter tracks, a couple of minutes each on those, but yeah, that's gonna be the EP that's coming out.
Yeah, people for me, 8 or 9 songs with no skits,
Hmm.
or that's an album to me. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? An EP is like 5 songs, 3 songs. You know what I
right.
mean? So once you go over five, I think that's an album.
Dang,
And
it's so many people have so many different perspectives on this topic. It's interesting.
yeah, because people are like, it's 13 tracks. I was like, yeah, but um 4 or 5 of those tracks are skits. So are they tracks? You
Right.
know what I mean? It's not music, it's just skits.
Yeah.
But who am I? I'm just a woman from Texas sitting on the couch. I don't do this for a living. So who am I? But that's just my personal opinion. You know, I'm also one of those people who like three verses, but
Yeah.
people's attention span today is not 3 verses long. You know what I mean? But I always find myself wanting more because I'm so used to 3 verses, but I'm 50, so there's that.
Yeah, now we kind of. I tweeted about that the other day too. It's like we getting all bars, no hooks, niggas just rapping.
Yeah, yeah, all bars. But I don't mind that, because there was a time there it was a lot of songs that was just people showing their skill.
Yeah.
But it was like two songs that they showed their skill, then it was two songs for the ladies, and then it was two songs for the club, and it was two songs for the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole album had a little bit of something for everybody in it. So even if you didn't like the street songs, well, I could listen to the club songs, and I could listen to the 50 Cent did that really well.
He did.
Yeah. I can't. He gets on my nerves, but I can't take it from him. He knew how to make an album.
Yeah, I think, Many Men will always be one of my favorite one of my
Yeah.
favorites of him. And that's not really the club joint, that's the one for the streets. I like that one.
Yeah, I think that song is the one that is a song that has that's the song that one song he's made that aged particularly well.
Hmm.
Even my daughter who's 20, I'll catch her sometimes. Many men wish death on me. I'm like, really? You grew up in the suburbs. What men? But what song in particular about Tupac really touched you?
Oh, there's so many. Dear Mama, his street songs. I like Breathing,
Mm-hmm.
Hail Mary, Keep Your Head Up. There's so many, that I could go through. His whole greatest hits.
Yeah.
He's got some stuff. He drops gems. He teaches. That's what I look for. I like the storytellers. He has something to give you. Or you're leaving with something. It feels like an even exchange.
Yeah, I always said if my grandmother was hip hop, she'd be Tupac, because she dropped gems and she'd call you a trout mouth heathen and she could give you all the gems in the world, but she wasn't scared to knock you down a peg to make you understand who the hell she was.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's what I love. I love that kind of diversity. And the kind of who were some of your earlier influences?
Outside of Tupac, Nas, Scarface, I'm gonna tell you all the storytellers and the people who I know, telling you something, even if it's offensive, 3-6 Mafia, Zero, I liked a lot of Chopped and Screwed. I got into that.
Yeah.
Wasn't to screw my music. I have a couple of songs that are screwed up, but I got into that early on, meeting people from Texas and just people that I worked with that were coming to Maryland, but that were from Texas. So I got into that genre. So just a mixture of everything. When I talk about the women that I love, they're kind of all over the place, because I'll say Heather B, Lil Kim, Rod Digger, Queen Latifah, Foxy Brown. I love the women who talk, really had something to say. And even though some of them talked about their sexuality, they also balanced it out with, other things. It wasn't just, that one layer. And that's a lot of what we're dealing with now, on the radio or mainstream.
Yeah, I always say, look, kind of after you tell me about your vagina, I got it. You don't have to keep telling me over and over again. It's pretty much cemented in my head what kind of vagina you got. But what else you got? I got that part. I understand. I know what you're gonna do to that dude, and he gonna buy you all of the stuff that you ever wanted in your life. But now what?
Yeah.
After you get it, now what?
Yeah.
What
I
you
think a
got
lot
to
of people
say
are
now?
just tired of that same stuff, and we just kind of desire more than that. We want,
Yeah.
and we want to take something with us when we leave from a song.
And your music is that. Your music um is, I go back and I listen to your music, and every time I do, I pick up a new little gem or a little piece of history that I missed the first time.
Mhm.
Um, what made you that um take that direction in your music?
Uh, it was on my heart and my mind at the time, everything that's happened in the past few years. I was also, in the house more and, in the house with my kids and stuck with what was going on outside because there was nothing else to do, nothing else to talk about. Everybody was
Hmm.
talking about what was going on in the streets. And, I didn't want to put myself in harm's way or take myself away from my kids because I wanted to go outside and protest. So what can I
Hmm.
do? What's my role? How do I fit in this? And I can rap, so I'm going to use that. Use my platform or try to create a platform, and make this song or this album about a protest because it started with Garvey.
Hmm.
That was the first song recorded for the album, so everything happened organically. None of these songs were planned out. Some things happened at last minute. There were a lot of things that changed last minute, but it all kind of just came together the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, it stuck with me when you said black on black peace, and I was like, oh yes, you know, you get. I love the way you flip that. Everybody, anytime we talk about black issues, the first go to was black on black crime, and the way you flip that black on black piece was just beautiful. I love the way you play with words. I love the way you show your perspective in a different way. It is beautiful. I love the way you write. Your pen game is spectacular.
Thank you so much. I don't even know what to say. I'm stuck. Like, thank you.
Yeah, your pen game is out of this world. Well, and all in all, listening to the album, I got so much from it. But when you were writing it, um, what was your what what was the overall picture that you wanted to paint for the audience? What did you want people to get from this album?
I definitely wanted people to get to know me. I was rebranding myself and coming out, as this new artist, new MC, or new to a lot of people. So I wanted people to get to know me. So I thought it was important for it to be self-titled, and to have me on the front. Even though I wasn't facing the camera, but to just put myself out there. This is me. Talk about the things that I wanted to talk about, what was happening right now, and things that people could relate to. I think I got
Mhm.
my points across.
You most
Uh,
definitely did.
Reaching. I wanted to touch people. I wanted to get feedback too. Most importantly, and I've gotten a lot of feedback.
You know,
So, what was your writing process for? What was your writing process? Did you how did you come up with the titles? Did you sequence it? How did the project come together?
So while seeking out the beats, I sequence while doing that, and I would hear something like, "Wait, this would sound good with this other beat that I have," and kind of do
Mm,
it like that. Um, there's two producers on the album. I've used them twice, Skip being one of them, and the other one's Devious Minds. And their beats are back to back for that reason because they just kind of flow well together. So I definitely kept that in mind, sequencing the album. With the titles, um, I think I was kind of straightforward with the titles.
mm,
I had, Supreme Mathematics in mind.
mm,
When you listen to Even I would go back and listen to some of the songs when I was doing the sequencing, and hear certain words that would align with that mathematic, with that track number.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of made sense, what I was talking about in the song, even though the song wasn't that particular name. Because
Mm-hmm.
each track name, aren't the mathematics, but it all makes sense if you pay attention to what I'm saying in the songs.
Um, let's talk about Black Betty because that's personally my favorite song. And when you told me who produced it, I was like, wow, because I've listened to Skip's beats just solo, but that's different. That beat was different. And the way and it is not a typical beat. And
Mhm.
the fact that you flowed on it so well and so precisely, and you found pockets that is that they were hard to find because I was like, how's she gonna rap on this? And then and it was so well done, and y'all, it flowed so well. How how do you find the pockets in a beat like that? Because I love the beat and I love the way you found the pockets in
In
it.
these pockets.
I think it's just natural skill because it's not anything that I could explain to you right now. I just kind of have a good ear, is the best way to explain it. Like the way I choose my beats, I have a good ear.
Yeah, because I was listening, I was like, how's she gonna rap on that? With the intro. I was like, the beat is fire, but I don't know where she gonna put words in there.
You should hear some other stuff that I got coming up. I'm definitely digging into some new genres. Even with Starfire was a nerdcore beat. Just something different and out of my element. But I wanted to take on these challenges.
Listen, that whole I'm sorry to cut in, but that is one of my favorite songs. Okay, that
Starfire,
hell yeah, that beat is ridiculous,
yeah.
man. I'm in my shower dancing like holy shit. And then I was thinking to myself, what the heck did that sound like? I don't know what type of studios you work in, what type of monitors you're listening to. I'm like, that shit right there, whoo, that shit right there is powerful. But anyway, I'm sorry, I had a little moment. I want to ask number 13. This is
Yeah,
number
go
13.
for it.
This is my question. One of my favorite songs on the projects is God Particle.
Mhm.
Now,
Mm.
whew, God
That's
Particle
another
got me.
beat. That's another
God,
beat that was a little different for me too. It's a slower beat where I had to figure out how I was gonna flow on it.
I am Jamaican, and when that song played the first time, I said, "Bombo clot, I bought you not." All right, so my thing is in that you talk about melanin, skin tone, I think hair and somewhere black excellence. What inspired that song, and what zone were you when you created that shit? Because that shit's powerful to me. I got chills after that. Boom.
And I think being in the house, I went down a rabbit hole, doing research on melanin and, discovered an educator from Baltimore who was talking about melanin. And I got one of his books. It's just a lot of deep stuff and makes you think about, the world differently.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something I like to do, while I'm creating, to think about things from a different perspective. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
I'm
is the God particle? That's the God particle? Melanin? That's the God
Yeah,
particle?
melanin.
Okay. That's dope.
Yeah, melanin is a guard particle. So I was talking about just being empowered about being, a black woman or being a black person, being a human. Yeah.
yeah. Um, I have been slightly irritated over the past couple of months because I see that our people are trying to create spaces that we can actually be free to speak to our issues the way we speak to each other without um, any outside voices being included.
Hmm.
What I have found is when that happens, we in and it I notice it happens to no one else, but we get backlash for not being inclusive.
Yeah.
Um when you think about when you think about and look at the different topics and stuff that goes on and the different places that people are able to speak. Why do you think that there's so much focus when Black people come together and we're just vibing on each other, and there's always so much backlash behind
Uh, fear, fear that, we're going to come together in all of our greatness and do something, that'll change the world. We're going to do something right. We're going to bring peace. They're scared of that.
it? It's so weird. It's so weird to me because I've even seen a guy just give props to Black women, and then it's immediate backlash. Well, my daughter calls it blacklash because
Yeah, it is.
yeah, they just attack. All women are beautiful, and well, why can't Black women just be beautiful today
And we
on
got to
this
defend
post?
ourselves. Like,
Yeah, why do
we're
we
just
have
talking
to?
about us right now. We're not trying to offend anybody else, but we just want to celebrate ourselves.
And for some reason, that tends to set people off, like as no other culture seems to have that issue but us, and especially Black women, because I don't think people understand when. How important do you think it is for Black women to have a space in order to just be free to talk about our issues amongst each other?
Oh, I think it's important. I think it's tough though, because then there's a divide within us. I think I saw a clip recently. I forget what show it was, but there was this divide because there was a brown skin girl group. So then there's this
Mhm.
brown skin versus light skin, or the lighter sisters mad at the darker sisters, and it's just a mess. So
Yeah,
much chaos, and a lot of us just want to get organized, and there's so many distractions.
and I don't think people realize that those distractions are purposeful,
Hmm.
that those distractions are still, I don't care how long ago slavery was, even today, we're still suffering the consequences of slavery. And this light skin, dark skin thing is one of them.
Yep.
And getting people to see that and actually move forward together and understand that our our connectedness is not in religion. The way we are connected is not in all of that, all politics, all of that stuff is noise.
Hmm.
But where our connection is in our Blackness. I don't care what shade of it is, that's where our connection lies. And it seems odd to me that people can't um, come into that come into that thought process together.
And you look at my mom; she's light skinned with these hazel brown green eyes, you know, and I'm browner, and I look like my dad. So we come in all kinds of shades and colors.
Yeah, we I grew up in San Antonio, and my mom is so light skinned she looks almost Hispanic. We don't. She looks. She's light skinned, and she had blonde hair when she was born, and they called her Samantha because she looked like the woman from Bewitched. That was her nickname, Samantha. So what are some of the pros and cons of being a black female MC in such a um especially in the in the area that the space that you're taking up? What is it like being a black female MC in such a first male dominated um genre, but also with the specificity of the topics that you're discussing?
It's tough. I don't want to, give any light to any negativity, but just, in recent days, being on social media and kind of getting a little hate from certain people and being attacked, about my character, about my talent, and things like that. That's the hard part about it. But I definitely take in more of the love and the compliments. I get more of that than any hate. But getting being put in a box, or trying to make it about my sexuality when
Mhm.
that's not something that I lead with in my music is the biggest that kind of crushes me, to have to even deal with that. But yeah, I think I'm all right. I
So
think I'm
you
doing all right.
feel free to DM me all of those names, and I will destroy them. I'll take pleasure in it because I'm 50. What you gonna do to me?
So yeah, just a little bit of hate, but I think other than that, a lot of people in the underground have been supportive, just overwhelmingly supportive, and it's people that are from my area and people that are not in this country. I'm kind of
Mhm.
reaching different areas that I couldn't fathom.
Yeah, it's always going to be some hate, and I find normally the hate comes from those who can't do what you do,
Yeah,
and so because they can't do what you do, they pick apart what you do so that they can make it not seem as great as we know it is.
right.
We know what you're doing, and we know whoever it is, you are online. Get it together.
Yeah. I think I'm able to, I say all that to say that I'm able to, pick out, who I need in my cipher, and
Yeah.
who set out to destroy everything that we're building. So, I mean, in some ways that this is a good thing. I can weed out the negativity. And
So,
I've been doing that, just kind of
mhm,
while working on my album, trying to figure out who to work with, who do I move forward with. Even with the producers, I had 10 producers on the album, and
mhm.
I built certain relationships with some of them, who got to know me on a personal level. So I was able to move forward with them. So just all about making the right connections and building with the right people at the end of the day.
Yeah, and the block button is my friend.
Exactly.
I always say the block button is like that old when we used to have that old rotary phone and we could slam that receiver down on that rotary phone and hang up in your face. That's what the block button. And I hit it hard, like, bam, you out of here. You don't deserve to talk to us. When you, what's your favorite song
Mm.
from yourself in your career up to now?
Favorite song. I have some favorite verses. I think picking a favorite song is so tough, and I think every time I've answered this question, I might have changed it. I think one time I said "Justice for Interlude," then it was
Yeah.
"Starfire," but then I would say "Struggle." But then I'd switch it to something else because I've got other people on the song with me, and if I'm gonna pick my favorite song with me, it should just be me. But I
Yeah.
like Justice for and Starfire for sure. It's like my top two on my debut album, and just overall. Uh,
So see, Black Betty is my favorite today.
right.
Tomorrow it ain't no telling what's gonna be my favorite. But for today, when I was, I'm like, this is my shit.
But yeah,
But
I don't know. I might have to go with Justice for because when I think about a song that when I play it, I don't even let it finish before I'm running it back and starting it over. It's Justice for. I like to hear, I like the way it starts. Every bar is just kind of spot on, and like you said, sometimes I hear new things that I've said, like, oh wait, that's kind of like double entendre, or something new that I picked up on that I said myself.
uh-huh. What is some of your favorite collaborations so far?
I definitely know it all.
Yeah.
Don't fail. We just did the new underground, and hopefully, we'll be doing something else, maybe summertime or later on this year. Coming back together and doing a whole project is something I'm looking forward to. But other than him, uh, let's see, I got Crow, who's on the album
Mm,
with me, Sage Walker and Cameron Galloway. They did Struggle with me, and Sage is also on Cypher.
mm-hmm.
But Struggle's a really strong song, and I actually linked up with them towards the end of working on my album. So that was one of the like late additions added to the song, but it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of worked out the way it was supposed to. Yeah, so those are my favorite collabs, but I got some stuff coming too. I got some stuff coming with King James. He's on my
Mm.
EP. Yeah.
I like King James.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, he don't know. I actually he dropped a. I just happened to scroll and see that he had a link, and I hit it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to dig all the way through his discography.
Yeah. Yeah, I first heard him on Skip's album that he put out in October. I
Uh-huh.
heard him on that, and then I heard him again on Furious Styles's compilation. So it's just like, all right, I'm hearing two joints from him, and it's my favorite song on the whole album. I'm gonna have to
Hmm.
look more into him. And then I came across JR, and then hearing them together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Jr. is a dope.
yeah.
Yeah. What's one of your dream collaborations?
I definitely want to work with JR. I Am God.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the guys that have been showing a lot of love and support
Mm-hmm.
too. And it's great hearing it come from them because I'm listening to their music, wanting to work with them, and they're giving me the big ups. So I feel like that's the my door in right there. I'm gonna be reaching out to everybody who I'm not even already, we already haven't planned something already. I'm gonna be reaching out to you.
And they're lyricists too. They're serious
Yeah,
lyricists with serious projects.
yeah,
Salute to them guys.
absolutely.
And I love that your dream collab is amongst your peers. That's
Hmm.
pretty dope. What about with your dream producer?
There's a few producers, and I can't put them out there yet, but there's some people that are in our circles that are making beats or just started making beats, that I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to working with some up and coming producers rather than anybody with the bigger names. I definitely want to start with where I'm at. Uh, they don't have a big name. A lot of people don't know my names. It's getting out there, but I still want to work with underground, like real underground producers and artists.
We know
That's
some.
dope.
Yeah.
We know some. SP knows some. She might have to DM your project
Yeah,
too. She
please.
knows a lot.
Especially,
Yeah,
planning
I think
something with
I'm gonna send.
Know It All. Planning something with Know It All. We're gonna need, somebody to work with us on our project. And there's a couple of people that we can use that we've already worked with, but why not reach out to somebody new or work with somebody new, reach a
I
new
would.
audience.
I keep saying and it seems like I'm just repeating this through every interview that I do, but I just want to hear you on the DK beat.
Who's DK?
Boom.
I just
Canada.
DK is a producer from Canada,
Okay.
and he did an album with Justo the MC,
Mm-hmm.
and but his beats are spectacular,
She wants to tell you
and
he is white and he's Caucasian and has more soul than most.
he's ridiculously good.
And very young.
I can't wait to check it out. I'm not
Yeah.
surprised that you saying the very young part of it too. I've been noticing that, like even with Know It All just did with Outkast. I'm not sure how young Outkast is, but it's a lot of youngins like
Yeah,
coming out of
and I,
nowhere.
and I am loving it. I'm loving that they are so deep into the history and they understand um the meaning and they understand the frequency of hip hop, and they are so young. And I'm like, because when I seen DK, I was like, ain't no way that came out of him.
And he's so quiet and like really humble. That's what's interesting. He's not braggadocious at all. And he's got a
But
lot of
when you
skill.
hear those, he doesn't have to, because those beats say everything.
You're fun.
Yeah, those beats say everything.
You have to send me his information so I can look him up.
Not only am I gonna give you his information, I'm gonna give him yours.
Please.
Backwoods Sweetie will be sliding in the DMs. DK, watch out.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sliding in everybody's DM, because I just want to hear you on so many people's beats, because I think you are fire, and because I listen to beats, all the time. I just, and eloquent.
Eloquent. It looks like she's
Yeah.
trying to executive produce your next album,
Yeah.
Sweetie. That's the vibe I'm getting, but that's just my vibe.
I'm over here like, okay, eloquence.
She's just like, I'll just line up all the producers for you. And, we'll just make it happen. It'll be a Powaful Impact production.
So, and I would like to hear her on the song with
Oh God.
Ela's.
All right, SP. Let's continue.
Okay. But
Ela's
I am going to send
female
your
MC.
album.
Ela's
I am going to send your album to Ela's.
Yes,
because I think y'all would vibe, because she's from Maryland too.
We're cutting deals right now, Backwood. But she works with. I know you got it. You're probably familiar, right? With Diamond District. So YU, Odyssey, and Uptown XO. You know the Diamond District from the DMV.
No.
Oh my God! All right, we're going. All right,
Yeah,
all right. Because YU, Odyssey, Legends, Uptown Legendary. So yeah, she's with them. SP. I like where you going. D. SP. D. Let's go. D. D.
I know. Teamwork make the dream work. I'll send it to everybody. So, what female MC would you like to work with?
So right now, I've been wanting to put together this all women's posse cut with a woman engineer. So I'm just kind of filling out and checking people's music out. I definitely want to get reach out to some heavy hitters though, still stay underground, but It's like Chez Noir, Ciroc. Definitely those two, like at the top of my list.
Yeah.
I want to, kind of reach higher than that. Rhapsody,
Fire.
Rhapsody too, Little Sims. That's where I'm at right now, as far as
MC
like
Light.
my favorites in underground right now, who don't get
Little
enough love from me.
Little Sims. Oh, she was in my top five album of the year.
Yeah.
I love her so much. I love the way I love you have some dope taste. But I wouldn't expect anything less because you dope yourself. So there you go.
She's in good company.
Yeah,
There
I
you
just want to
go.
work with other dope women that I respect, that I feel like, we all should be, mainstream, but I'm proud of being underground and having this kind of platform, underground platform, and not being, on the front and being controlled. And yeah, this feels good.
Who are
Yeah.
some dope female producers? I'm just curious because I don't like now currently in the underground scene. Is there any that you could highlight or know about?
The one that's on my album, she produced Starfire, Arcade the Sage, and she was at BlurCon at the Comic Con when I was at the Comic Con, and we didn't know each other and hadn't met yet. I hadn't come across her beat yet, but I was already kind of formulating this song in my head. I knew I wanted to do a song called Starfire, and I was in my cosplay doing Starfire, and when I left
Woo!
there. When I left there, I just kind of got online. I got on BeatStars and found a beat called Starfire, and it was made by her. And I did my research on her before I reached out to her to, just kind of introduce myself. But I realized we were at the same place, and yeah, that was perfect. So I definitely want to highlight Arcade the Sage. It's black beat maker, black mom, black woman. Yeah, she's dope. That's the one that I know, that I've gotten to know. But I don't know any others. Y'all gonna have to tell me,
No, that's
who y'all
fire.
got.
No, I don't know too many. That's why I was
Wow.
asking.
Yeah,
That's dope. How,
we try to highlight
more women.
especially in positions that aren't the norm, because I think a lot of times people don't have the knowledge that, hey, we're here.
Mhm.
There might not be many of us, but we're here and there's space for you.
Yeah.
And I think the only way that's going to happen is if people can only some people can only imagine what they see, right?
And so we're
Yeah.
trying to
So
move.
when they see a Backwoods Sweetie and they hear your music, they know what's possible because they see it in you. And
And they
that's
hear
why
it.
we do this podcast, because we want people to know that you don't have to give up your dignity or your morality or your who you are as a human being to do what you love, because look look what's right in front of
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
You said it a little bit before. You brought up some of the producers and MCs on it. I just want to know, how did you pick the beats, the producers, and the rappers on this particular album? Like, what made you cherry pick this one, that one? How did that come?
So, what I really love about DistroKid, and that's who I use to distribute my music to all of the streaming stores, all the digital platforms. They have their own little social media or timeline, if you will, where you can connect with other artists. You can post your songs and, chat and comment with other artists about your music. So I had posted, one of my singles, and Crow, they posted something, and, we both just kind of immediately saw each other's potential and wanted to work with each other, saw that we were both in Maryland, and that, let's do this. Like, we can link up, work on a song together. We actually linked up in Baltimore. I met them at the studio and recorded I originally recorded it in Baltimore, but I brought it back to my studio where I recorded, not too far from my house, but got it mixed down and did all the editing there. So I had the final touches on every song when it comes down to the mixing and editing, working with my engineer to do that. But yeah, everything came together just organically. Like I didn't know I was going to link up with Sage at the end of this project and end up doing 2 songs with him because I liked him so much and liked working with him. But the songs just came together. Yeah, there was no plan. There was no plan at all, other than I knew I wanted to talk about, what was happening now, current events, and just kind of reach the streets through my music.
Now, all right, so that kind of leads to my next question here. What made you decide, or did they decide, to utilize speeches from Marcus Garvey, movie clips like Belly, skits with the phone calls? I don't know if that's on the street or if that's from prison. Pardon me, I couldn't tell. I kind of sounded like the street, but it sounded like it could have been from Cell Block. Just what kind of made you put these pieces and elements together? I love them. I think they work together cohesively. I just want to know if that you, the producers, like, what's the inspiration?
Again, it was organic. The guy that I was dating at the time, his son's name was Marcus Garvey. So
Wow.
that was in my head and in my brain, and it was happening at that moment. When with the belly scenes, I had recently met Dr. Ben Chavez. He spoke at an event in DC. So I met him, and he talked about a lot about DMX, and DMX had just passed. Around that time, or maybe a month or so before then. This was in September, this past September. But yeah, I met him and listened to his thoughts, and he talked about, what Belly 2 would have looked like with DMX in it, and just got a lot of insight from him. So I was inspired, and I wanted to use the scenes in Belly that inspired me the most, and also just celebrate him because I had just met him. So everything just happened, just lined up.
And that is a very powerful man. I've met him too in person. A lot of evolution with him, from the NAA, from a preacher to the NAACP to then Nation of Islam.